Welcome back, everyone. I actually went ahead and got my hands on the Apple Watch Series 7, so let's go ahead and compare this bad boy against the Apple Watch Series 6 and see which specific Apple Watch you should go and pick up. Now, I'm going to be completely honest, if you have an Apple Watch Series 6, in fact, if you have an Apple Watch Series 4 even, I would probably recommend keeping it. I would not go and upgrade to a Series 7 just yet. Based on all the rumors and everything, the Series 8 is going to be that big redesign, but there is very little difference between these two devices. Now with the Apple Watch Series 7, this is the best Apple Watch Apple's made. It has a lot of character, has a lot of capability. The Series 6 from last year still is perfectly fine. And like I mentioned, if you own this Apple Watch, I would be perfectly fine of recommending it. Just don't even upgrade, to be honest. Now, side by side, the Series 6 does have a smaller display overall. And it's crazy because that design didn't even seem that outdated. But now with the Series 7, Apple did a great job at expanding that display and letting it curve over. Now, I'm kind of indifferent about it. I think it has a higher chance of, if you hit it against the wall, it can possibly crack. So I'm not a huge fan of it. But with the Series 6, you have a smaller display, 40mm and 44mm, versus the Series 7 at 41mm and 45mm. So they'd save 50% more screen area. I don't know about that. They both kind of feel the same thing, but the Series 6 definitely has a little bit of an older design to it than the Series 7. Now they both support the same bands, which is great. They both have the same type of charging area, so there's really nothing different there. Now one big thing that Apple has been saying is that this specific device, the Series 7, is way more durable than the Series 6. So if you're somebody who wants to have a more durable watch, you're banging it around and you're afraid you're going to drop it or crack it or whatever, the Series 7 is going to be a more durable device for you. It doesn't mean that it's, completely proof of everything, that if you chuck it against the wall that it's not going to break. It's still probably going to crack, but it has a less chance of breaking than the Series 6. So the Series 7 is way more durable there, which is really good to see. And those are really the main differences on the outside. We pretty much have covered it up for the most part. Now, internally, there is a little bit of a difference. So with the Apple Watch Series 6, that thing actually had the S6 chip inside of it, apparently. With the Series 7, I guess it has the S7 chip inside, which before we were estimating that it wasn't going to have the S7. I guess that's not the truth. This phone does have the S7 chip, which is tremendous. So you have that ability of still getting long supported software. This thing's not going anywhere. But the big thing about the Series 7 is that it is 1 year newer than the Series 6. So what does this mean? Well, essentially the Series 6 is, it has a higher chance of not lasting as long as the Series 7. So that is a pretty big thing to keep in mind. If you want to, again, the Series 7, if you want to, like I mentioned, the Series 6 is still a great device. It's still going to be able to handle everything you throw at it, but the Series 7 is going to be a little bit faster here and there. And if you want a watch that's, going to be the bleeding edge, it's going to be the fastest watch ever at this moment, the Series 7 is probably the better way to go. In terms of at least longevity, again, if you want the watch that's going to last the longest amount of time, that's probably going to be the better way to go. And like I mentioned, with something like the Series 7, not only are you getting faster charge time, which we've already talked about before, you could potentially be getting better battery life, which Apple also, mentioned at their keynote. But on top of that, a very interesting thing is that they actually offer a 50% louder speaker and a built-in mic. So I don't know if that built-in mic is, higher of quality, but it actually offers a 50% louder speaker. Now, I don't know if that's from its predecessor or from a different watch, because the Series 6 also offered 50% louder speakers. So I don't know if it's 50% louder from its predecessor or from another watch, but you are getting, again, a more waterproof, a more rugged, and more dust-proof device from something like an Apple Watch Series 7 than an Apple Watch Series 6. Now, after using a Series 7 or really any other watch that I've used, there were such very little differences even from an Apple Watch Series 4 that I just don't see a crazy big difference going from an Apple Watch Series 6 to an Apple Watch Series 7. If you can find a Series 6 for a very good price tag and it's not going to charge an insane amount of money, the Series 6 is a very solid device. I mean, that thing has everything going for it. It's beautiful, it feels really good still, and it's not really outdated. With the Apple Watch Series 7, I can say the same thing. It is really just a more refined version of the Series 6. But this is kind of an issue because with the Series 7, it's kind of hard to get right now. I mean, it's like all over the place, but they're all sold out and they're being delayed like crazy. On top of that, things like it not being a crazy big redesign from its predecessor, but also with the Series 8 coming around the corner, that is looking to be that bigger redesign. So if you're somebody who wants to go and upgrade to a watch and you want to keep it for forever, you may want to wait out one generation. So in this case, if you can find a Series 6 for a very solid, price tag, I would highly recommend picking it up. But with something like an Apple Watch, Series 7, this is the best of the best. This is the best watch you can pick up, and I would highly recommend picking that one up for sure too. So in terms of that covers it up here. If you guys have any other questions, or if you want to pick up either one of these watches, like I mentioned, links are down in the description below. Hit the like button, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.